Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to review the final Traffic album from 1974, When the Eagle Flies, the follow-up to the last album I reviewed, which was Shootout at the Fantasy Factory. We've got a truncated lineup for this final album. Chris Wood, Jim Capaldi, Steve Winwood still on board, of course, and then joining them on bass, Roscoe G. And I saw Roscoe G at a benefit gig for Reebok in London 1983, and Rick Gretsch was there and Jim Capaldi was there, and Reebok for some reason is not on this album, although he does play on the Capaldi album of the same year, Shortcut Draw Blood, which is easily his best solo album. I may be doing a separate review of that. It really is quite a sensational album, and this album is similarly, if not my favourite, then very close to my favourite Traffic album. There's a wonderful feel to it throughout. Lovely textured cover here. The reissues didn't have that. And if you want to spot the traffic sign on the cover, which is on every Traffic album, it's if you look carefully, it's in Chris Wood's hand here. Nice cover. I forget who does the drawing. Oh, it probably says Martin Hughes. And I'm not sure if it originally came in a gatefold, but this is not a gatefold. I don't think it did. I think the lyrics were on the later edition were in the form of an insert, but here it's part of the sleeve. It's a stiff cardboard sleeve. Nice to have the lyrics. I don't believe we'd had the lyrics on a Traffic album up to this point. I think this is the first one. Very nice. Nice label to mirror the album title, although I think it's on Island still. Produced by Chris Blackwell and Traffic. And yeah, no hit singles off here, and it tends to have been forgotten as an album, and Traffic as a band seem to be woefully underrated. So I'm doing my small bit to try and get people listening, because I think they're a really worthwhile band, and Steve Winwood would go on to do some good solo work. But his work with Traffic in the 70s, along with a lot of people who started off in the 60s, they went through a kind of golden period for about 10 years, and I think Steve Winwood did, between the first Traffic album of 67 and through Talking Back to the Night 1982. That's a 15-year period, although I like his latest stuff. I think my favourite work is from that period. Jim Capaldi is on Lyrical Duties as usual. Nice illustrations here for each song. Which adds to the mood and mystery of some of the words here. Something New is a kind of upbeat opener with the nice lyrics, not too meaningful, but it's a kind of love song. It's pretty good. But the sensational track on side one, there's only 3 tracks on side one, they tend to do quite long numbers, was a song co-written. Steve Winwood did the music, and Viv Stanshall, from lately of the Bonzo Del Doodah band, does the words, and they're wonderful. I'm not quite sure how to interpret them, but maybe that's the point. But words like, and it's a fact you are cold, they react, dream Gerard. Hippos don't wear hats, lobsters shriek if provoked. On long blue ribbons, but he may see while he sleeps. Monsieur Neddy wears spectacles in bed, that he may see dreams more clearly. And Steve Winwood took those words and made a really strong song out of it. So Dream Gerard probably in my top 5 Traffic songs. I think it's a masterpiece. And then Graveyard People is a very strong closer, keyboard driven number with some good words from Jim, good illustration here. Graveyard people with graveyard minds, peeking out through half-drawn blinds, desperate people with desperate minds, only live amongst straight lines. Scorning the gypsies camped out in the fields, what do they know of the warrior's shield? Go slow workers with union minds, striking out for better times. That's actually probably a topical comment at the time, because of the the miners' strike in 74, 73 for in England. I think probably an allusion to that, and just a great song, yeah. And then flipping over to side two, we have another laid-back number in the form of Walking in the Wind, which actually I think I've got it on a single, and I thought I was getting an extra unreleased track, because it was Walking on the Wind on the A side and then Walking on the Wind instrumental on the B side. But I think what they did is they just chopped the song in half and had the instrumental fade out on the B side. Someone may correct me if that's not right, but Walking on the Wind is a great number, and Roscoe G is doing really nice bass on this one. So yeah, that's great. And then we have Memories of a Rock and Roller. Now this is really interesting, this song, because it starts off as a ballad. Steve Winwood's beautiful tune. When I was a young boy, I lived for rock and roll. We spent our time playing gigs and travelling on the road, and we didn't have much money, and the gigs were sometimes rough. But playing music seemed to be, for the people, seemed to be enough. And the music is so sweet that it makes me tap my feet, and my mind is so very high I can almost touch the sky. So in the middle of that song, suddenly, I think when he's saying, and the music taps my feet, the drums come in, and it kind of goes to a fast tempo, and it's very effective, very effective. And then the following track is probably my all-time favourite Traffic song. It's a beautiful ballad called Love. Lyrics from Jim Capaldi and music from Steve Winwood, which was the formula. And it's just heart-wrenching, very moving. Just one verse. Love, if you see me, don't pass me by. I need somebody or else I'm gonna die. Love, if you need me, just call and I'll be there. There is no sorrow that both of us can't share. Love, don't you despair. And it's sung with an achingly beautiful tune, and nice flute from Chris Wood as well. All in all, top notch. And then we've got When the Eagle Flies, the title track. I remember one review said that this album was marred by some over-ambitious Capaldi lyrics, which I thought was quite an amusing comment. I suppose these lyrics of this song are a bit strange, but nothing wrong with that. When the eagle flies, you better watch your eyes. He's going to sweep everything in his path, and when the heavens cry, it's going to drown the sky. And you'll get caught in the aftermath. When the mountains move, it's no good trying to prove that you've been doing what you can. Don't you start to cry when you're about to die. Now, for once, Steve Winwood doesn't rise to the occasion, and the melody is not that brilliant, or maybe the lyrics are a bit wordy, so difficult to make a tune out of them, perhaps. But he does a decent job, and it's not a bad track. It's just it's a little bit of a disappointing end to the album, with having maintained such a high quality throughout. But it's a fairly minor criticism, that. I love the artwork with the eagle and the bands standing on the hills. I love the fact that Viv Stanshall is co-writing with Winwood, and actually he co-wrote the title track to the Arc of a Diver album for Steve Winwood in 1981. And he was good mates with most of the rock and rollers, I think. He used to hang out at George Harrison's house, or yeah, I think he did. Or was that Lakes Larry Smith? Maybe they both did. But Viv Stanshall's a bit of a comic genius in the same vein as Monty Python. He's put out a few comedy albums which are pretty amusing. So Traffic, yeah, they were together from 67 to 74, and they featured the stupendous vocals of Steve Winwood and the very nice flute and sax from Chris Wood. Those are probably the two biggest qualities that Traffic had, and of course apart from mentioning Steve Winwood's immense musical ability on guitar and keyboards. So check it out if you like decent 70s laid-back sort of jazzy music, a bit of jazz influence here, I think. Check it out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.